Hello and welcome back to the Underrated Channel. I'm Jor. I'm the host of the Underrated Channel here and also the host of the 88 Sats radio channel. And this channel here is focused on one thing: developing a mindset, doing more than paid for, adding more value than you get in return for it, doing more than you get credit for, becoming underrated. That's the whole idea here. And so we've been doing this for a couple months now, or not even, I guess. It's been about a month. And shout out to all the new subscribers and viewers that we've had on the channel recently. It's good to see that this kind of information is in demand because we're going through pretty uncertain times right now, very chaotic. And I think that the main thing that you want to take into this chaos is a solid mindset. And that's kind of what this whole channel is about. We tap into the minds of the Henry Fords, the Napoleon Hills, the Andrew Carnegies. The people in the 1920s were living in a much different world than we are today. Why? Because they were living on a hard money standard, something, the idea of government printing money and giving it to their friends just wasn't even a thought back then. And that's kind of the norm. So to me, we've actually been living in an artificial world for the last 50, 100 years beyond that. And so we want to take some of these principles from the 1920s, carry it forward to the 2020s, because I believe that we're going back onto a hard money standard now. We're kind of on the way there. And so all these videos here are intended to kind of prepare you for that, get you in the right state of mind, and take advantage of this transition back to a hard money standard. And so one of the things we've been talking about is a book from Napoleon Hill called The Laws of Success. And he talks about a couple of key principles in the beginning part of it, which is the mastermind, which we've spent several videos talking about now. And the other concept here is having a definite chief aim. And I kind of set a deadline on the show that we did yesterday for everybody to have their definite chief aim done, written down, and finalized by this Friday. And I realize that there's going to be people watching this in, later years, later months. That's okay. But for the people who are kind of going through this and enjoying these videos every day, that's kind of the deadline that we set. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to talk through 6 different points here as you're trying to develop your chief aim. Because basically, unless you have a chief aim, unless you have a direction that you're moving towards, a clear direction that you're moving towards, all the work that you do between now and then is going to be wasted. Think about a ship at sea, and this is Earl Nightingale's kind of famous principle. He says, you don't see many boats leave the harbor with no sort of destination. Everybody puts in their exact GPS coordinates and it gets where it's supposed to go. If it didn't have that GPS coordinate, it would be going around lost at sea for a very long time until probably something terrible happens. And I feel like a lot of people go through their lives without the GPS coordinates of where they're going to. And myself personally, I've been very guilty of this. I've had goals my whole life that I tried to do. The one thing in terms of goals, though, that I've noticed, and that's why I love this definite chief aim, is because most people go through the year. January 1st comes around and they have all these new goals that they want to reach for the next year, for the new year. But the reality is that a year is a very short amount of time. And there's a phrase that says people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. But I think even that's BS. I think the real one is people overestimate how much they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. And the idea of this definite chief aim is not like something that you're going to do in the next 3 months. It could be, but this is kind of like, what's your chief aim in life? What are you working towards? What's the big thing that you're going towards here? And I honestly feel like, myself included, and about 99% of the population does not have an idea of that. And so essentially they're just ships lost out at sea. And again, I'm not preaching here. I'm guilty of this myself. And that's why I've been trying to do this every day, so I can build it into my own mindset, make it a habit through repetition, and share it with other people as well who also are in the same boat as me. So I'm happy to say that I actually do have a definite chief aim, or at least the first copy of it. And I said I was going to share it, and I might share it on Friday. We'll see. But this is what I use to do it. And this is from AI. Because I said, we've been going through this course together with Napoleon Hill, Law of Success, but he's never really given a blueprint in terms of like what this should be. What should your statement be? And so it basically said, like, Napoleon, I think, did that intentionally because everybody's in a unique situation. Not everybody wants more money, but I still think following these steps would get you a pretty clear idea. It did for me anyways. When I went through this stuff yesterday, it gave me a pretty clear idea of what my definite chief aim is going to be. And so the first one here is state the exact amount of money or precise result that you intend to acquire. So that's a big one. And I think a lot of people have this idea in their mind, whether it's the balance in your bank account, whether it's a number of rental units, whether it's ounces of gold, or whether it's total amount of Bitcoin. Everybody kind of has this idea. And what I would encourage you that isn't really mentioned in this, but this actually helped me quite a bit in my definite chief aim, is do the math. Right? Because Napoleon's whole thing is he uses this phrase within reason. And he basically says that if somebody has a clear, definite chief aim within reason, and they work towards that intentionally and consistently and persistently, there's nothing that's impossible. But the starting point has to be within reason. And so you can do the math. And I actually did the math myself. And that's kind of how I formed mine. So you state the exact money that you want. And you got to question yourself. You got to do the math and say, okay, if for the next 10 years, is this amount of money or your precise result, is it achievable? Not that it has to be easy, but again, if my definite chief aim to be a professional women's soccer player. I mean, it's possible these days, which is sad, but it's still probably not likely. Like I'm too old now. I'm past that point. That would be a goal that is not within reason. But if I wanted to get to, let's say, 2 Bitcoin over the next decade, I think that's reasonable for me. I think I could do that. I could find ways to do that. If that's my clear, definite chief aim, I think I could do that. And then you start doing the math and you say, okay, well, based on the price right now, based on what I think it's going to be in 5 years from now, how much would I need to make? How much more additional income would I need? And you do the math. I think that's a very important part of this, is actually sitting down and doing the math, because math makes it real. Right? I think everybody has these ideas in their head and they don't really know why they're in there or, what made them tether to that. But when you start doing the math, it exposes it pretty quickly. So do the math, see if it's within reason, but make sure you have an exact amount of money or precise result that you intend to acquire. Number 2 here is have a definite date. So this, for me, was about a decade out. I don't think anything we're doing can be done in a year. And so I'm giving myself a 10-year runway for this specific chief aim that I'm working towards. Number 3 is create a clear and concise plan of action. This includes doing the math, because when you have this number and you start breaking down, how am I going to do this? You don't have to have the exact roadmap. In fact, the goal should be a little bit out of your reach. It should be a little bit scary for you, but you can see, okay, this is what I got to do. This is what I need to add to my days, or this is what I need to charge instead of this to get to where I want to go. But you create a clear and concise plan of action. This next one here is write a short statement that includes the top 3. So these 3 things, plus you got to consider what you're willing to give up. Because I could probably double my income in the next 2 years, but it's going to sacrifice my friendships. It's going to sacrifice my relationships. It's going to sacrifice my health, my diet, my stress levels. So of course it's possible, but do I even want that? That's something that you got to look inside and ask yourself. And so you do the math, you write the statement, and this is the most important one in my mind. Once you kind of have this taken care of, you got to read that statement out loud at least twice daily. And although I haven't had a definite chief aim and I'm still kind of working on mine, I have done this kind of stuff before with the statement and reading things out loud and speaking things into existence. I think that there's definitely something there. And then number 6, get moving. Get moving. Take action. Because as you can see here behind me, this is not this note right here isn't for other people to see. I mean, it kind of is, but it's also for me. Because when I look at my computer screen, I see that. Action cures fear. You have to take action. And you have to start today. So you figure out where you want to go. You fill up the tank. You get going. So again, I hope that everybody here will have their definite chief aim done. I'm not going to audit it. I'm not going to start asking questions whether people did it or not. There's a lot of people that I don't know who are watching this channel right now. So what I would say is, if you've been enjoying this stuff, if you want to keep going with our Napoleon Hill law of success and whatever's going to follow from there, I would strongly suggest getting something on paper and just having that. Again, it's not written in stone here. You can be flexible. You can make adjustments later, but just have something. Because having it, if you think about it this way, we kind of alluded to the ship analogy there, where the ship leaves the harbor and it's going somewhere. And if you think about a 10-year path that it's on, if you spend the first couple of months and you're kind of going slightly off track, you could still correct course and get back there for the decade-long journey here. So most importantly, I think, is just get something down. Get something down, have these conversations with yourself, go through these thought experiments, do the math, and start working towards it. So that's it. I don't know if this was a shorter one or a longer one today, but that's what I got to talk about today. So again, big shout out to the people who have been sending some love, some feedback, some support through this. Again, I usually do these. These are usually part of the daily live streams. This one's not, because I did a different video this morning. But this is how you can find us. If you're into this kind of stuff and you want to hang out with some really intelligent, great people every morning, set the day off right, tune into our live streams right here. And that's it. If there's any relevant links, I always put them in the pinned comments here for you so you can easily access it. And I hope you're having a great day today. Hope you're having possibly the best Tuesday of your life. And get that done. You're going to enjoy whatever we're talking about in the future here, both law of success and going forward. So basically, that's the idea, is we have our definite chief aim, and then we start accumulating the tools, the resources, everything we need to get us there. So that's what I got. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.